welcome to this wild, windy world here of Scotland. And for today's adventure, I've come to the shores of the Backwater Dam, which lies in the lands of Angus, Scotland here, just about on the edge of Glenila. It's kind of at the foot of Glenila. I can see loads of sheep up here. I'm not sure if the farmer's doing some shepherd work. But yeah, this land here used to basically be made up of loads of little crofts and farms. And then in the 1960s, they built the Backwater Dam, and this land here was flooded for the fresh water supply to Dundee and some Angus towns here in Scotland. But at that time there was like communities and stuff that disappeared. Bigger farms took over the lands of the smaller farms, and the area here is almost gone and forgotten from the land. But you can kind of see this perimeter fence line here, which leads around this bit of wild grass, and this used to actually be the site of the old school, which served all the little crofts in the local community here. But the story of this little school is almost gone and forgotten from the land, as is like the building and stuff. But I have driven past here before, and I just thought I wanted to document it on a video and speak about this old school of Backwater Dam that was here. One of the last things that gives a slight clue of the history is actually this roadside dike here, and you can imagine the little school building standing up on the hill. Look at this. Wow, this is a cool, interesting early detail of the history. It is extremely windy, folks. Look at this. The old iron work, the old metal work right there. Think how many storms, days and nights that's put up with. That's what I love about these abandoned sites. Often when you go and explore them, you uncover little details of the original history. Today I'm dodging proper storms, and it's quite hard to go out exploring because it's proper heavy rainstorms and extreme winds, and you can kind of see it here. It's a dreich, miserable autumn's morning. Check this out here, folks. Look how the wall has been put in place of the old gate. And look at it here, the ironwork. This is so cool at the roadside. Just think a local blacksmith most likely made that. The railings back in the days when the school was first constructed. The pride that would have been taken, and look, these walls lead in, so there was probably like a bit of a schoolyard or a garden area maybe in the front. And I'm just guessing like the building must have been up here. There's obviously not a great deal to be seen on the surface, but I thought I would come up for a closer look and document it on the video, something that we've never seen before. And I love going to locations that I've never documented, seeing these things that I've never seen. And check it out, here's remains of this old building. Wow, folks, check this out here. Stuff like this. It's old chunks of maybe like the chimney or the walls. Obviously these lands are still used for farming, agriculture and gamekeeping. Quite often you'll still get gamies up here doing obviously their rounds. Look at this, here's the old peak off the roof. Some of the original woodwork still sitting down here. Look, there's the old roof peak. Wow, what a sight. You can actually see from the groundwork here how it's been levelled. And imagine looking out the windows of the old building up onto that wild hill. Wow, this is so cool, folks. Look at this view as well. You have to imagine when this school was in its prime, it would have been before the days of the water. There was probably just a river or whatever leading down. And on the documentary, when they actually built the Backwater Dam, there's an interesting documentary on the Scottish Water YouTube channel, and it shows you in detail them building it. But on that documentary you could see one of the original farm crofts, which is actually now under the water over there. And that's interesting to think of that history as well. Obviously we all need a source of fresh water, but it is interesting to speak about and document what was there before the land changed so drastically. And there is obviously various abandoned little crofts and buildings, but to see the local school here, and imagine the kids and everything would have come from all around these glens probably to an area like this. Maybe even for generations growing up in the lands. and then one day a site like this just becomes abandoned, forgotten. And at this time of year you can see the green grass of the summer is now changing to this yellow, more bleak looking autumn scene out here. I wonder if that tree was planted in the grounds of this school originally, or I wonder if it's grown since. Everything's still pretty overgrown, but it's just almost exploring season, folks, and I'm hyped on the channel. In the winter months, in Scotland, you can actually explore so much easier than in the summer. Look at this, there's holes down here. I'm not sure how deep this even is. I need to be careful. I was kind of just wanting to head up around, do a little circuit around here, folks. That's what these madnesses are all about on the channel. I was just going up here to see if there's a secondary building potentially, because it looks like this has been levelled. Wow, I could see the clouds blowing over the top of these hills. Look up by those trees. It's a true Scottish paradise out here, folks, and I'm so glad I can share places like this with people all over the world. Tell these little stories of history from a wee Highland glen in this kind of remote landscape. This road actually just continues up as far as probably another mile, and then it just stops, and then there's no main road beyond that. That's what makes it kind of like a remote landscape. And yeah, this is just amazing and breathtaking. Often when I look around, it's a paradise scene out here, folks. And I do believe there's been a building here, maybe a little toilet block or whatever, maybe even some sort of shed, maybe for items that they needed for the running of the school back in the day. But it is cool because I've never seen this on YouTube, or I've never heard the story being told of this school. I just know it from the local knowledge of the area. It is cool just to see what's here. Obviously from the main road you can't really see the detail of the stonework that remains on the hill. And then this little tree, check it out, folks. Wow, little places like this. I always say wow, but then when you're in a place like this, it blows your mind off, and just, it's like being in the middle of some sort of postcard. It's the wildest of land, but then there's the coolest of history like hidden within it. Look at this must be something, potentially, would it be a gamekeeper or whatever? It says "oh yes" on there, folks. I just heard the most extreme noise coming from down near the loch. It was insane. It was like a screech, like a dinosaur. Yeah, look, there's another one. Look, 1973 to 2003. Happy anniversary, it says, folks. See that? Shout out if that's yours and you can about that right there. Anyway, there's some mad creature or something down there making a noise. It's maybe the farmer rounding up his sheep. I can see a big herd of them making their way over the land there. That seems to go on here quite a lot. Obviously there's a lot of shepherding and a lot of work done with the sheep in these glens. At one time, kind of farming was what carved these lands originally. Agriculture, draining what was like bogland. But in this area there is still a lot of forestry and timber operations. Recently a fair bit of clear felling and replanting on the far hill there. But some pieces of forest were so badly devastated last year in the storms, you can kind of see remains of that. The trees were all blown down and flattened. Anyway, folks, there's a mad little abandoned piece of history. What was the little backwater school of sorts back in the day, before it was called Backwater Dam up here. This is the foot of Glenila, and it's obviously been the home to generations of crofters and farmers. This is where they were educated. But it's been a cool short video, dodging these rainstorms and mad winds. I'm going to end it here. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll be back soon with the next deed, wherever I end up going.